Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Costello. I'm going to be doing day 6. We're going to be graphing some inequalities on our graphs. So if you want, I would grab a highlighter or some kind of like colored pencil or something because I'm using all the colors today. So you might want to too. If you're too cool for that, then whatever. I'm just going to roll with it. So we have a little checklist right here because there's a lot kind of going on when we graph these inequalities. So the very first thing we want to do, kind of like when we graph our line, is we want to write the inequality in, we're going to write slope-intercept form. So, you know, that y equals mx plus b, except this time we're not going to have the equal sign. This is not really going to be there. We're going to have like greater than, equal to, or less than, greater than, whatever. We're doing that. We're going to graph the line like normal. We're going to start with our y-intercept. We're going to use our slope. That part's normal. Here's the new part, this step 2. Now, if the inequality sign is you've got greater than or less than, you're going to draw a dashed line or dotted. I call it dotted, but I know other teachers call it different things. If your inequality sign is greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, we're going to draw a solid line. Okay. If you're in my class, the way I teach this is I ask you line or no line. Because like on our inequality signs, look, this guy has got a line, so you draw a solid line. Okay, this guy's got no line, so you're not going to draw that line. We'll see more when we do these too. Okay. Then there's going to be some shading. That's where we're going to use all the colors. So if you have a greater than or a greater than or equal to, you're going to shade above where the big Y's are. Okay, that's kind of how I remember it. And then if it's less than or equal to, we're going to shade below where all the small y's are. Now the step 4 is going to be really important. This check a point. So in that shaded area, find a point, make sure you did it right. Because sometimes the shading is not, if you don't do it right, like that's a point off your test that we can't give you. Okay, so let's graph some of these guys. Okay. So, number 1. First thing I check for is, do I have y by itself? Is this in slope-intercept? Yes, it is. Awesome. So I always write down what my slope is and what my y-intercept is before I graph. Okay, so my slope is going to be this guy right here. Okay, -2 is my slope. If you like to put -2 over 1, so you remember how far to go over, that's totally fine also. My y-intercept is +4. So that's where I'm going to start my line. 4 on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. My slope was -2 over 1. So I'm going to go down to right 1, down to right 1. Put as many dots as you want. I'm going to put all the dots. Alrighty. Now here's our new part. We put all these dots. Okay, now we got to check out what's going on with our inequality right here. Okay, I have to ask myself, line or no line right here? There is no line underneath that guy. So when I draw my line on my dots, it's going to be a dashed line. Okay, see how I'm not just like connecting them all? That's what you're going to draw. So dashed line. Now, my inequality is greater than. Okay, so greater than means that I'm going to shade above where the big Y's are. Okay, these are the big Y's. These are the small Y's. Okay, so big Y's are up here, so I'm going to shade right here. See, isn't this fun? You get a color with your highlighter. Sweet. Okay. That last part was the check. So we got to pick a point like inside of our pink area. I'm going to try to pick a really easy one. So I'm going to pick this guy right here. The reason why I picked this blue dot is this point is at 3, 0. Okay, I always like to have a 0 because it's very, very easy to check. Okay, so I'm going to check with the point 3, 0. Now this point, right, this is your x, this is your y. So if I go to plug it in here, y is greater than negative 2x plus 4. I'm going to plug in the 3 where the x is right there, and I'm going to plug in the 0 where the y is right here. So I'm going to have 0 greater than negative 2 times 3 plus 4. Now you're not moving the 0. You're checking to see if this is true. So our goal is hopefully that 0 is going to be bigger than whatever we get over here. Let's use our order of operations. So negative 2 times 3 is negative 6 plus 4. Negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. So I'm looking at this right here and I'm going, is 0 greater than negative 2? Yes, it is. Okay, cool, I did it right. That's kind of why you got to do the check. All right. Number 2. Number 2 is not in y equals mx plus b. I know there's no equals, okay? But it's still not in slope-intercept. So we got to move everything away from the y. So we always move our x first. So I'm going to do minus 2x because it's a positive 2x. So negative 3y is less than or equal to, I'm going to write negative 2x first because that helps me because now it's in slope-intercept, so that's a lot better. All right, now I still need y equals, or y by itself. So I'm going to get rid of the negative 3 by dividing by negative 3 to everybody. Everybody gets divided by negative 3. Remember, when you divide by a negative, you got to remember that inequality sign, it flips like that. 2 negatives over each other, that's going to be a positive 2 over 3x. And then 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. All right, I'm in slope-intercept. That's perfect. So my slope, now I got to ask myself, what's my slope? What's my y-intercept? Here's my slope. Up 2 over 3. There's my y-intercept, negative 2. So I'm going to start at negative 2, right there. And now I'm going to go up 2 over 3 to the right. Okay, I can't really go like up 2 and then I kind of run off the graph if I go over this way, right? You can kind of guess. But you can also work backwards. So you can go down 2 over 3 this way. Yay. All right. Now, got to check this guy. Line or no line? Well, this one has a line right here. So that means I'm going to draw a solid line on my graph. All right. Now this is greater than, so I have to shade above, okay, because it's greater than. So above is where the big Y's are. There's my big Y's, so I'm going to shade above the line up here where all the big Y's are. So we get to color a lot of the graph. Yeah. Alrighty. And then we got to check a point inside. On this one, we have a very, very nice point that we could check. We got this guy right here, 0, 0. That is so easy to plug in for X and Y to check. Okay. You can check the first equation, like you are totally allowed to go ahead and check that one, or you can check this one. It does not matter. I always check the Y equals one, or the Y one, but you can check whichever one you want. So remember, this is your X and this is your Y. So 0 greater than or equal to 2 over 3 times 0 minus 2. This is why I like checking 0, 0, because this guy, boom, goes away. So I have 0 greater than or equal to -2. So is 0 greater than or equal to -2? Yes, it is. Awesome. So I'm good to go. Number 3. Okay, number 3, we need to get y by itself. There's my y. All right, so I'm going to move everything away from the y. So there's a 3 there and a -4. Let's move this 3 first. So we're going to do -3 on each side. I know it's kind of weird because there's no x, but you guys know how to do this, so don't panic. Okay, -4y is greater than 11 minus 3 is 8. Now, to get y by itself, right, because we still have to do that, I need to divide by -4 on both sides. I divided by a negative, so I need to remember to flip that sign. So less than, and then 8 divided by -4 is -2. This is what I'm graphing right here. We know how to graph these. It's just like if you had y equals -2. So we're going to find -2 on my y-axis. So -2 on the y-axis is right here. Okay. It's going to be a horizontal line. It goes through the y-axis. So make sure you have some dots so that it's just a flat line like that. Right. This inequality is a less than. We got to ask ourselves line or no line. It has no line, so we're going to do some dashes. There we go. Then my inequality is less than. So I'm going to shade below where all the small y's are. So small y's are down here. Okay, so we're going to shade everything below that line. Cool. So to check, if you want to check, you can totally do that. So I'm going to pick this point right here to check. This point is 0, -3. Okay. The reason why I picked this one is, look, you have x and y. You only really need to check your y. You only need to plug in -3 over here. So if I'm doing my check, I'm going to have 0, -3. The -3 is going to go in where the y is. So -3 less than -2. Is it? Yes, it is. So I'm good to go on that one. I shaded correctly. Okay. This one, there's no y. That's okay. You guys know how to graph these with the x's, right? This is your x-axis. This is your y-axis. All you have to do is find 2 on the x-axis. 2 on the x-axis is right here. Okay. Now you're going to draw your line that goes through the x-axis. You're going to draw your vertical line. So I'm going to be putting dots up and down that point. Let's look at our inequality. So our inequality is less than. Line or no line? There is no line, so we're going to do a dashed line. Now, this says greater than. Okay, so we have to think of this in terms of like big X's or small X's. Big X's are over here, so we're going to shade over there. Another trick you can use with just the X's, only with these guys, not with your Y equals, is where is this inequality pointing? See how like the arrows kind of match up? Like this arrow's pointing one way and this arrow's pointing one way. Okay, it's pointing to that right side, so you can also do it that way. But I like big X's, small X's. And then you can check too. So for your check, Let's find a good point. I'm going to pick this guy right here. That point is 0, oops, not 0, sorry, 3, 0. There we go. This is x, this is y. So I'm going to plug in 3 where the x is to check. So 3 is going to go in here. Is 3 greater than 2? Yes, it is. So I did shade correctly. Okay. Alrighty, you guys are going to do A. So go ahead and pause your video and do A all on your own. When you unpause, I'm going to show you my work and you can check yours. So pause your video now. This is what your line should look like on A. So make sure you have a solid line. Gotta have a solid line. And make sure that you are shading below because it's a less than. Okay. If you didn't get that right, maybe go back and check your work. If you have questions, you can ask your teacher or me if I'm your teacher. So I'm also gonna have you do B by yourself. So go ahead and pause your video, do B, same thing as last time. So pause your video now. And there's my work on B. You did have to move the 3x over to get it in slope-intercept form, but then you should have been good to go. Make sure you have your solid line. Make sure you shade below. That's it on day 6. So if you have any questions, you can ask your teacher tomorrow in class, or you can ask me, whichever one. Okay, have a good rest of your day.